life is goodish. I'm Dave Gorman, and earlier this year, I received an email from someone purporting to be Facebook themselves, telling me that I needed to reset my Facebook password. Now, normally, I would be concerned about this. I'd be thinking, are they really Facebook? Or are they a fake? Is someone trying to steal my details in some way? There were clues. You can your new password in attached document. Not a very good sentence, that, is it? Plus, there were some weirdly spelled words here, like fans. And I think if Facebook were going to send you a zip folder attachment, it wouldn't really be called Facebook. But there were other indications that this was, in fact, completely legit. A thing to be taken seriously. The main evidence being that it was sent on the 8th of June. And I knew, because I had been reading the Daily Express earlier that day, on the 8th of June, and I had read this story: if Facebook and Netflix ask you to reset your password, it is not a scam. Couldn't be clearer, could it? A very definite headline. It says it is not a scam. Which is a weird thing to say, isn't it? I mean, it is true that there were some legitimate Facebook password reset emails doing the rounds at that time, but the criminals who do the scam emails, trying to steal your details to make money in criminal activity, aren't sitting in their den going, hang on, guys, Facebook's having actual issues this week. They're sending real emails. Can we all just stand down the operation for a week, keep it fair? And the article knows that, which is why, in sentence 1, they introduced the word probably. This is as ridiculous as a headline can be. You might as well have a headline saying, if a stranger offers your child sweets, it's not dangerous and you don't need to worry at all. Or if you find a mushroom you don't recognise, just eat it, you'll be absolutely fine, so you But when I realised that this email had arrived on the same day that that article was published, I'll be honest with you, I was a little bit excited. I was thinking, hello, there's material here. I will find a whole load of unequivocal headlines about equivocal stories in the Daily Express and elsewhere. It will be a rich vein. That's what I was gearing up to do, and then I got distracted. I got distracted by something else on the same page. At the foot of the page, clearly labelled there, is a section of recommended stories. Now, I don't think there's much doubt about what that means. I'm on the website of the Daily Express. How else am I supposed to interpret those words other than, here are some stories that the Daily Express is recommending? And you'd assume that they would have read these stories before recommending them, wouldn't you? I mean, they must have read half of them, because half of those are stories from the Daily Express itself. But the other half are from other sites. But one of those links in particular caught my attention. It was that one there. All of Hollywood mourns the loss of this legend. And that's a picture of the actor Tim Allen, the star of Home Improvement and all those films about Christmas. And this is on the website of the Daily Express. And surely they wouldn't be saying someone is dead if they're not dead, would they? And I'm pretty sure I would know if Tim Allen had died. And I know it's him because I recognise the picture, because that is the photo he uses as his avatar on Twitter. So I found myself drawn to click the link. And when I did, I found myself on a website called Boreburn. And on Boreburn, there was an article called Celebrities You Didn't Know Passed, which is illustrated by a picture of Leonard Nimoy, a celebrity I did know had passed. And I immediately felt like I'd wandered into an area of the internet that I wasn't really happy to be in. But when I tried to leave the page, this pop-up appeared, trying to get me to go to other links on other parts of the World Wide Web. One of them being for celebrity suicide inside these stars' final hours. And that's illustrated with this picture of someone that I'm pretty sure is Kelsey Grammer, the guy who played Frasier. In fact, I know it is because I did some research and I found the original picture of Kelsey Grammer. And I can tell you for now, he hasn't committed suicide. And then I saw that one of the other links is for celebrities that gain so much weight you won't recognise them. And you know what? You won't recognise that celebrity because she's not a celebrity. She is a petty criminal called Karen L. Vasquez, who was arrested for contempt of court in 2006 in Florida. These are nonsense, surely. And I don't know about you, but I am starting to think those might not be 20 of the bounciest boobs. Although I'll be honest, a small part of me was tempted to click on that link. Not that small part of me. I was tempted, not because I wanted to look at the boobs, but because I was curious about whether that link would lead me to pictures of 10 women or 20. How are they counting? How are they counting the boobs? Anyway, I resisted temptation. I dismissed that, and I went back and looked at the original site, when suddenly my computer started talking to me.
Well, take a look at what happened. Seriously, £482,118 in the first month, and I'm simply blown away.
He isn't even moving his lips. But it turns out it wasn't Leonard Nimoy doing a from beyond the grave ventriloquist act. What it was another website that had opened up underneath Ballburn that I had no idea about until I moved some windows around and found it. And the website underneath it was this. It's called The Brit Method. The face of it is this man here. He's called Jason Taylor. Okay, and as you can see, he didn't graduate from college and he's not a mathematician. So that's maths and English he's at, okay? And he says he's found a guaranteed way of making millions of pounds in the stock market. Can't fail, works for everyone. £10,000 he will give you if it doesn't work. It's a risk-free investment. Its profits are guaranteed, absolutely guaranteed. And I'm thinking, this is surely a scam, isn't it? It must be a scam. Because I'm certain I'd seen it before. When I saw it before, it wasn't called The Brit Method with Jason Taylor. When I saw it before, I'm pretty sure it was called The Irish Method with Jason Flanagan. Looks suspiciously similar, doesn't it? I've also seen it called The Aussie Method with Jake Perttu. I've also seen it called The Canuck Method with Jake Mason. I've even seen it called La Méthode Française avec Jacques Pardou. There is clearly something hooky going on here, isn't there? If you're not convinced that this is a con just by looking at these, then there are other ways of checking it out. For example, on the websites of the Brit Method and of the Aussie Method, there are videos from apparently satisfied customers. Let's see if there are any similarities between these videos. We'll start top left.
Well, take a look at what happened. Seriously.
Next one on the Aussie Method.
Take a look at what happened. Seriously.
It's a bit of a coincidence, isn't it? Almost word for word. It's like they're reading a script or something.
$482,118 in the first month.
The same number, but in a different currency. 482,118. And beyond that coincidence, they both happen to be called Howard. Let's see if there are any more coincidences.
Thanks, man. I mean, I can't get over it. It's £764,000 in 29 days.
Yeah, you should spend some of that money on acting lessons, my friend.
Thanks, man. I can't get over it. $764,050 in 29 days.
Again, the exact same amount, but in a different currency, and then...
That is my account. It has £622,001 in it.
And £1.
My account has $622,001.
Exactly the same amount. This is beyond belief, isn't it? Surely, surely.
Can you believe that?
No, I can't, no. Now, look, I'm not here to try and warn you off these things. I think you're smart enough to know for yourselves that this sort of thing is a con. But some people must fall for it, or they wouldn't keep running it, I suppose. But I don't want to be misunderstood here. I don't want anyone to think I'm here trying to badmouth the Daily Express. Some people might be thinking, yeah, there's a connection there, isn't there? Because the money is flowing. And let's assume there are financial relationships. Presumably, I don't know, but you assume Brit Method must be paying Ballburn for that to happen. And presumably, again, I don't know for sure, but presumably Ballburn are paying to be on the Express. So some money is trickling down, right? It's a complicated area. Think about my relationship to the advertisers on this channel. Right, it's quite similar, isn't it? The advertisers are paying Dave the channel to be on their channel. And Dave the channel are paying me, Dave the Gorman, to make a programme for their channel, right? Basically, our relationships are very clearly mine to the channel Dave and the Daily Express to the website Ballburn. That's where the moral equivalence is, isn't it? You know, Dave pay me to make a show for them and Ballburn pay the Express to pretend that a man is dead and... Actually, that does sound bad now I've said it like that, doesn't it? That does sound worse. I'm sorry. I'll be honest with you, the lawyers are really clear that I've got to make some things very straightforward to you. Let me just explain exactly what is going on. Now, you're looking at the Daily Express website, OK? And I know that it says recommended stories. I know that. And I know that it says Express in really big letters out there. And I know that you're on the Daily Express website and you know all those things. But it doesn't mean that the Daily Express are recommending these stories. In fact, you go to the foot of the page, in the small print, it's very clear that these are being recommended by a company called Out. Outbrain, okay? So Outbrain are actually the people recommending this story. Just want to make that properly clear. It's also worth looking at the actual wording on the advert, isn't it? Because, look, you're looking at that advert for that, and you're seeing that picture and that sentence, all of Hollywood mourns the loss of this legend, and there's nothing actually telling you that the word this relates to the picture, is there? That's your brain putting the picture and the words together. They're not, they're just on the same page, isn't it? I'm making this sound quite complicated. I'll give you an example just to really sort of spell it out. Let's say I've put this blank page on my screen, right? Okay? And I put at the bottom of it, opinion of Barry, right? Barry's just a guy I know from the pub, right? He's just asked me to put his opinion on there. Now, it's on my show, you check the TV listings, you'll see my name there, my name's in the title, but this is no longer my opinion, these are the rules, this is how it works with Outbrain, this is how it works with Barry, okay? Now I'm going to put a random picture. I've literally programmed my computer to just pull up a random picture from its archive, and it's gone with the Daily Express, that's just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence, okay? And now I'm going to put a sentence up, right? And the sentence I'm going to go for is all of Britain thinks this paper is a proper... There is no reason, just because this is on my show with my name on the title, for anyone to think that that is what I think of that picture. That picture of that sentence are unconnected. That is the opinion of Barry, although it's not an opinion of Barry because that picture and that sentence are unconnected. Those are exactly the same rules. If you think that I am saying that about the Daily Express, then you must also think that the Daily Express were telling you that Tim Allen was dead. And I'm pretty sure the Daily Express will deny that they ever told you that Tim Allen was dead. And so the Daily Express must accept that I did not say that they are a crock of I'm very glad that I've made that clear. What's weird is the clearer I make it, the worse it gets. We are now going to have a little break. We've got a new young hotshot producer on the team. He's come up with a new way of teeing up the break, OK? So here we go.
Dave will be back with more Modern Life is Goodish after the break.
Modern Life is Goodish. Now, you might have sensed that I was treading quite carefully earlier and choosing my words with extreme caution. What with the Brit method being what I'm pretty sure is a con. But I think it's only fair that I also point out that this man, the man you see smiling in that picture, is not actually to blame for any of this. What that is, I suspect, is a stock photo. That guy has done a photo session for someone, and that photo is now for sale for people to use in whatever way they like. Here he is, for example, being the friendly face of an Arizonan landscaping and gardening company. Here, he's a 19-year-old French student recommending a life coach. Here, he is representing a Russian printer supplies company. And here, he is working for a Brazilian centrifuge supplier. And unless I've misunderstood what a Brazilian centrifuge supplier does, I think we started and ended that sequence with two businesses that will trim a bush. I probably did. I don't speak Portuguese. I don't really understand. Now, I want to make it clear what stock photography is, OK? A photographer takes a photo thinking, I reckon this will probably sell in a lot of places, OK? He takes a photo, he pays a model a small amount of money, and then he goes and tries to sell it. So he's taking a bit of a risk, but he can make a lot of money if he can sell the picture on. I'll tell you what, like, the best way to demonstrate this is probably to kind of act it out, live it out. I fancy myself as a bit of a snapper. I've got my camera here. I've got a few quid in my pocket, OK? I reckon I could be a stock photographer if I came to it. I'll see how much money I've got in my pocket. I've got 20, 40, 60, 70 pounds, OK? 70 pounds right there, ladies and gentlemen, 70 pounds. Does anyone, any fella fancy earning 70 quid as a stock photography model? Can you get out as quickly as you can? Just nice and quick. That's very good. Thanks ever so much. You're going to be a stock photography model, OK? So you have to sign a release form just to say that you're OK with the photos being taken and then sold. So just put your name on there. We can just sign it in there. That's all you need to do. And for that, you earn £70, OK? That's that. You put it in your pocket, that's yours, absolutely fine. Now, what you need to do is stand on that mark there, OK? I'm going to take a photo. You're quite a tall fella. I'll tell you what, I'm going to put a light white background on behind you. That's the background we'll use, OK? And I'll tell you what, can you just budge up a little bit? I'm going to just try and get a bit of height. In fact, can you just get off your seat? So I'm going to get off there. And now, just a nice smile, just a nice little smile. If you could, just let me get a nice sort of picture of you. Nice smile, that's good. Okay, and another one. You want to find another expression? Okay. That's absolutely brilliant. What's your name there, fella?
Andy.
Andy, very nice to meet you, Andy. There you go. Do you want to see the photos?
Yes.
You want to see the photos? You don't get to see the photos. You've already signed them away. It's nothing to do with you anymore. I'm the photographer. You're just the model. Take your money, take your seat. That's absolutely fine. Nice to meet you, Andy. There you go. Now, let's just get that out of the way. There you go. It's Andy. There you go. It's Andy. Andy. There you go. Now, of course, one thing to consider is there are risks associated with being a stock photography model. Probably something you should have thought about before doing that, Andy. I'll tell you what, I'll illustrate the risks using an example of someone we have talked about on the show before. If you watch Series 1, you might remember a man called Rick Stivens. If you didn't see it, it doesn't matter. All you need to know is there's a chap called Rick Stivens who wasn't thrilled with his phone. And this is his face. And that is the original photo. It's a stock photo. This is an example of stock photography. Since that show went out, I have received a constant trickle of emails and tweets from people who've seen that face elsewhere. So I know that he's been in the New York Daily News and on the eHarmony website and on the United Biscuits website. He represented the concept of an uncle on a dream analysis website. He's everywhere. And he's truly international. He's on Russian websites, Croatian websites, he's on Iranian websites, on German websites, he's on Swiss websites. There's an Italian website that he's on that I think best illustrates the problem with stock photography modelling. Now, my Italian is not great. But I'm pretty sure that means remedy for problems of erection. There are a lot more examples of people who have fallen into this trap. Here is another stock photo. This is a woman alone. She's a woman of certain years. She's sitting at a table. She's looking pensive. There's an empty chair. It could be all sorts of things, couldn't it? She could be, maybe she's worried because her son has just gone to university. Maybe she's angry that her husband has just become invisible. It doesn't matter what it is. We can all imagine common sense ways in which that picture could be used. What she probably wasn't expecting was to become the Guardian's I haven't had sex for over 10 years. But there is a flaw in our thinking here, isn't there? Like, to return to this example, if I said to you, is it Andy, wasn't it? Sorry, if I said to you, how much do you want to be the face of erectile dysfunction? I think you'd probably want quite a lot more money than the amount I gave you to be the face of anything. How much would you want? What would your price be for erectile dysfunction? Just imagine.
10,000.
10,000? OK, that's reasonable. And I paid you 70 quid, and you signed a form that meant I could do anything with it, didn't you? Which is a fundamental misunderstanding of scale, isn't it? You're saying you want 10 grand for erectile dysfunction, but you were happy to do anything for 70 quid. And obviously, that's the wrong way around. Anything is much bigger as a category than erectile dysfunction, isn't it? Erectile dysfunction is obviously a subset of anything. Which is ironic, because one of the issues with erectile dysfunction is that it won't go in anything. It's one of the things, but... There's another really good example of a stock photo being used in a way that... You probably saw it on the poster on the foot of the stairs as you came in. You know the... You know the one I'm talking about, don't you? Yeah, the rest of you looking... I'll go and get it. I'll tell you what, I'll go and get it. It's not very far. I'll just nip down the stairs. Won't be a minute. I'll be as quick as I can. I want you to all see this. It's worth it. It really is. OK. Oh, my God, I'm out of breath after those stairs, I'll tell you that. This is the poster. I think you probably all saw it. The my farts are so bad I once killed a sparrow. So, 70 quid for that. 70 quid. Tell you what, you see, it is a dangerous game, isn't it? You've signed all your rights away. Andy, would you like that as a little souvenir?
Yes.
Yeah? Well, it's yours for 70 quid. It's yours for, if that's the deal. You signed it away, mate. I'll tell you what we're going to do right now is we're going to have a little auction and see if anyone wants to outbid Andy for this poster. Meanwhile...
Dave will be back with more Modern Life is Goodish after the break.
Welcome to Modern Life is Goodish, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before the break, we were, I think, in a kind of moral maze, wondering how much money would be an acceptable amount to make yourself the face of erectile dysfunction. I think it's interesting that most of us, I think, would accept that there is an amount of money that would make it acceptable. That lie. Of course, there are other reasons for lying, aren't there? You know, to help someone out, for example, white lies. I mean, say I was to ask all of you to pretend that you're from, like, Cardiff, say. That would be a weird lie to tell, wouldn't it? Pretending that you're from somewhere else. If you're at home wondering why these people just responded like that, it's because before we started filming tonight, we did this. Hello, Dave Gorman here, on the set of Modern Life is Goodish. Don't forget to tune in tonight at 10 on Dave, where you'll find me here with this fantastic audience who tonight are all from Cardiff. And I think it's fair to say that it made some of these people a little bit uncomfortable. And yet they all went along with it, in part because it was happening en masse. Because 200 people were asked to tell the same lie at the same time, and it's kind of easy to hide in the crowd and go along with things. But I think if we'd pointed a camera at just one of you and asked you to pretend you were from somewhere else, you'd have probably felt a bit more awkward about it, because your next-door neighbour might say it, your parents might say it. You would know that you would be caught in your lie. But I think there are circumstances that could persuade you. I think if a proper celebrity, not an R-lister like me, a proper celebrity, asked you to lie to help him out, you would. So I asked my favourite celebrity in the world to test this theory out. If you've watched this show before, you probably know who my favourite celebrity is, ladies and gentlemen. It is, of course, this man, Mr. Martin Roberts from Holmes Under the Hammer. I sent Martin out with a camera crew to the streets of Bath. His job was very simple. He had to ask the people of Bath a very simple question.
So what do you like about living in Bath? So why do you like living in Bath? So why do you like living in Bath? Bath, 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 living in Bath, living in Bath.
So far, so straightforward. But then Martin would say something like this.
Listen, before you go, I've got a bit of a problem. We're very short of time for me to make another programme about a different city. Okay. So, is there any chance you could pretend that you're like in, I don't know, Glasgow?
Glasgow! You couldn't be less Glaswegian. It wasn't always Glasgow, by the way. Martin mixed it up. For example...
Why do you like living in Liverpool? Living in Liverpool. In Liverpool. Living in Liverpool.
OK, now, one of those people in that video, the fellow in the red jacket, he's actually got a Scout accent. Here it is.
Amazing shopping, but the people are just absolutely amazing.
And I think Martin was thinking, I know he's done a lie, but it's not a real lie. I'm going to get this guy to do another one.
We need Glasgow.
Oh, we need Glasgow. Yeah. Except there is a problem with Glasgow.
I've been to Glasgow once and I was there for about 20 minutes. Unfortunately, the thing about Glasgow is I didn't really like it.
He's been for 20 minutes, he didn't like it. To which Martin says...
So why do you enjoy living in Glasgow?
Scottish people, they're really, really friendly.
He's got an answer! He's got an answer! And Martin now knows he's got a live one, so he pushes it.
One more, Brighton?
One more, Brighton? This guy's got an even bigger issue with Brighton.
Never been there.
Never been there, no. Martin does not accept that. He pushes him.
See, I'm a good Christian, I can't lie.
Yeah. The people of Glasgow beg to differ, my friend. This man, like the Scouser before him, he lives in Bath, but he is happy to pretend that he lives in Brighton.
David, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So why do you enjoy living in Brighton?
It's my home city.
Nah.
Everything about that makes me happy. I could have it on a loop. It's amazing.
It's my home city.
Nah.
It's my home city.
Nah.
It's my home city. It's my home city.
Nah.
It's my home city.
Honestly, if I was a beatboxer, I would be throwing down some mean lyrics over this. This is just... Anyway, he's chatting to this guy about Brighton, and Martin thinks, OK, this guy's clearly good. I'm going to see how committed to the lie he is.
So from here, how far to the beach?
How far to the beach? They're in Bath. This man, no pause.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes! He's in Bath. The correct answer is between an hour and an hour and a half, depending on traffic. But you will agree with me that this is the biggest fib when you see it.
So why do you enjoy living in Edinburgh?
Well, it's like the best city in the world, isn't it?
He's doing the accent! He's doing the accent! This is amazing. I love this man. 15 people in 12 interviews. Everyone lied. Everyone, 100% of them just lied because it's Martin Roberts off the telly and they bloody love him. I love these people for doing this, I really do.
Good shopping?
Yeah, it's not bad.
I love this is a white lie. These people are doing us a favour and they are heroes for helping Martin out. And I should point out, in case it isn't obvious, that Martin Roberts doesn't do that sort of thing as standard practice when he's making Homes Under the Hammer, right? This is him doing it on purpose for us as a favour. People get quite upset when they discover that something on TV isn't real. It's like that, you know, that stunt driver scandal that Top Gear had a little while ago. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember this. It's when the new series launched. There was an interview in the Radio Times with Chris Evans and Matt LeBlanc, both promoting the show. And in that interview, it's quite a long interview, there was one paragraph that got a lot of attention. That's the paragraph in question. In particular, one key sentence. It was this one. "When it gets really crazy, I have a stunt driver," said Matt LeBlanc. That sentence, that one sentence in that one paragraph became, I do not know how many news stories. It was in the Mirror, there it is. Matt LeBlanc admits he has stunt double for scary capers. According to The Sun, it isn't just him, it's Chris Evans as well. And of course, given Matt's profile, this news travelled across the Atlantic, so it was on Fox News as well, for example. And of course, the Mail were all over it, although they did point out that Jeremy Clarkson had used stunt drivers on the old Top Gear and that they were expecting him to use them on the new show he's working on too. But oh my life, this got people worked up. And you know, when people start getting upset about something as trivial as this, I find myself drawn to the bottom half of the internet. I've read every comment, ladies and gentlemen. I've taken my favourites amongst them and turned them into something that I like to call a found poem that I would like to perform for you now. Top Gear uses stunt drivers? Jeremy Clarkson will be spinning in his grave. This just confirms what I've always believed. The new Top Gear presenters will be wimps and wusses. Wimps and wusses. Wusses and wimps. LeBlanc needs a stunt driver? Clarkson drove through Chernobyl. Let that sink in. I wish the radiation had sunk in. Not literally, of course. I wouldn't want anyone to get poorly. The old Top Gear presenters didn't use stunt drivers. They were men. The old Top Gear presenters did use stunt drivers. It says so in the article. You are commenting on an article you clearly haven't read. That said, and having said that, while your argument is ill-informed, I agree with its thrust entirely. The old Top Gear should have used stuntmen as producers. Then they'd have been able to take a punch. Clarkson has a low voice which he makes lower at the end of sentences. It reminds you that while his behaviour may be childish, he is actually a man. Evans has a higher voice, and so his childish ways seem more childish. LeBlanc is American, and that says it all, really. But is he, though? Yank accent, French name. Acts Italian. They have changed every single thing about this show. So why are they legally allowed to still call it Top Gear? It's like Walls changing every single ingredient in a Viennetta and still calling it a Viennetta. Viewers, or in that case eaters, would quite rightly complain. Sadly, the BBC has failed to grasp this simple concept. If you put a sausage in it, it's not a Viennetta. If you put a sausage in it, it is not a Viennetta. As Clarkson himself would say, and on that bomb bell, good night.
The Bill Ruff Ensemble, ladies and gentlemen. Dave will be right back after this short break.
To Modern Life is Goodish. Now, recently, a friend of mine introduced me to a website called Fiverr. Fiverr, it's a website where people will do small tasks for you for a fiver. It came about because my mum had asked me to design the invitations for her birthday and then decided that she hated the invitations I came up with. I don't know why. I mean, that is... It's her and her two favourite men. What is not to like? What is not to like? Anyway... Long story short, I ended up having to redo them at very short notice and promising my mum that this time I was going to do something nice. And I'm not very good with computers and design and stuff, and I know some of you are thinking, come on, Dave, you seem pretty computer literate to us. I bet you could come up with a nice invitation if you wanted to. And you're right, I could, but it would look something like that. So my friend says, well, just get someone on Fiverr to do it. And if you've never seen it before, this is what Fiverr looks like. Now, I am obliged to point out that it's not the only site of its kind. There are others, like, for example, Fora. And I really do wish that I was making that up, but I'm not. What are you looking for? A cheaper version of Fiverr, I imagine. Anyway, there are others, but Fiverr is the one that I have the most experience of. And I think that they did a decent job, right? I mean, it was made by this person. I will design your party invitations for $5. This isn't even £5. It depends on the exchange rate at the time, but for me, this cost £3.84. This was a $3.84. And there are lots of people selling their skills on Fiverr. They come in all shapes and sizes. Some of them are useful, some of them less so. So, for example, there's this woman who will proofread 1,000 words for a fiver, but there's also this person who will sell you 2 large pine cones for a fiver. This pair of sexy legs will send you a video on how to get squirrels out of the attic for a fiver. And this person will send you a postcard from Lincoln Cathedral for a fiver. And you see that, and your first thought is, why would anyone want that? Are people covering up affairs by pretending they were in Lincoln one day and using a postcard as proof? You see, darling, I told you I was in Lincoln on that handwriting changing course that I've since completely forgotten. Of course, it also raises the question, in what way is this a postcard from Lincoln Cathedral? I think this is a postcard from a person that's posted in a postbox near Lincoln Cathedral, isn't it? Not the same thing at all. And yet, I read all this, started a cynic, and ended up a customer. I have bought one for a friend. Here it is. I had it sent to a friend. The message on it says, "You have squirrels in your attic. I know someone who can help. Yours sincerely, Lincoln Cathedral." You see? You can get messages in all sorts of creative ways. You can have a message written in alphabety spaghetti, or written on a banana, or held by a squirrel. Although, hang on, I'll just sort that out. There you go. That's better. You can get impressionists to record you famous voice messages. This guy will do Barack Obama. This person here will do Mrs. Doubtfire. Other people will just record a special video for you. This man will say anything you want to and then do pull-ups for a fiver. This man will say anything you want while ironing for a fiver. And this man will say anything you want in the shower. But there are other people for whom I will say anything means something less fun and something altogether more morally dubious. For example, I will give you reviews about your short stories and poems for $5. It's not the crime of the century, obviously, but we all know that if you're buying a review, especially one that promises to be fantastic and glittering, then it's not a real review, is it? This was being offered by someone with the username Family Finder, and I was instantly curious, thinking, I wonder what else they are offering. And I found this. I will record a professional video testimonial up to 100 words for $5. And when I saw that, my first thought was, hang on, I recognise those curtains. I'm sure I've seen those curtains before. And I have. They're there in the Brit Method video. And what gets weirder, it's not just the same curtains, he's got the same bloody face. This is an interesting discovery. I wonder to myself, how is he pitching his wares on Fiverr?
Hi, my name is Dave at Family Finder, and for just $5, I will do a 100-word testimonial for your company, website, or any product endorsement, etc. I have a distinctive British accent.
No, Dave, you've got distinctive British curtains. That's what you... You don't have to have the curtains in your video, though. If you'd like, you can also get him to do one lying down on a snooker table. At least I think that's what he was doing. I'm not sure. I reckon he'll probably explain.
If you need me to stand in front of a green screen...
Oh, yeah. Actually, that does sound quite useful, doesn't it? Yes, please, Dave, I would like you to do that. Let's run that video again.
If you need me to stand in front of a green screen...
And he will wear different clothes for you.
If you need me to wear certain clothes, like a suit, or a doctor's coat, etc.
What is going on? We've got a man here who, as far as I can tell, is offering to pretend to be a doctor for you for £3.84. Look, this isn't Watchdog. I don't bear this man any ill will. He's not evil. He's not a master criminal. He's made £3.84 out of this. He's an idiot. But I have to say that I have been in contact with him and I have offered him the opportunity to respond, and he's not very keen on talking to me. But he has said that he didn't know that that Brit Method video was going to be used in a scam. Now, put yourself in his shoes. These are the words that he spoke in that video. Take them in at your leisure. Now imagine someone is offering you £3.84 to read those words into a video camera. What would you think? I think we can chase these thoughts around, can't we? I think my thought process would go something like this. Is the get-rich-quick scheme real? Now, if you think it isn't, then it's easy. You don't advertise it. That's obvious, isn't it? But if you think it is real, then you've got a choice, haven't you? You could think, well, yeah, I know it would make me a millionaire, but I'm happy with my £3.84. Or you could think, I'm going to invest in that scheme. And if you invest in that scheme, you are going to find out for yourself for sure whether it was a scam or not. Because if it isn't a scam, you're going to make money, aren't you? You're going to become a millionaire. And if you become a millionaire, I'm pretty certain that you're going to leave Fiverr. Of course, if you were wrong and you lose money, then you will discover that it was indeed a scam. And then surely, if someone asks you to do another one, you're going to say no because you've learned that it was a scam. That's the way I see it, and as far as I can tell, it's really hard to see many routes that lead to you recording one of those videos. And it's almost impossible to imagine anyone recording more than one. Which, to my mind, makes these next two websites just a little bit embarrassing. We have the 50k mission and profit trading bot.
Do you have any idea how good it feels to sleep in every morning?
No, I don't know what it's like to sleep in every morning, and if I did, I'd miss Holmes under the hammer, you fool. What are you on about?
Sonia, I still can't believe how much money I have in my bank account.
Yeah, by my reckoning, about 12 quid. What is he doing? Look, it's easy to judge him because these things are a bit dodgy, but the truth is, the weirdest thing about it is that he's doing it for £3.84. I do think making these videos is a bit of a move, but if we're honest with ourselves, we probably all have a price somewhere. It's just that his is I guess it's a bit like the erectile dysfunction question we were talking about earlier. It's not something anyone wants to do, but we can all see that there is a price, OK? Now, we know that, Andy, you said you would do that for 10 grand, OK? I'm interested, would anyone do it for less than 10 grand? What's the kind of bargain basement in this room someone do? I'll tell you what, let's make it more real. This is an Italian website, so it feels at a distance, at arm's length. It doesn't feel as bad. Let's make it an English language one instead, OK? This is a genuine website. It's called Erectile Advisor by Randy Rochester. Honestly, I haven't made that up. It's a genuine website, OK? Now it's in the English language, so I think it feels more real. Genuinely, think about how much your price would be. We've got 10 grand in the middle there. Is anyone doing it for less? Any gents out there? No? Have we got an 8 grand? Is someone feeling tempted at 8? No, none of you are very keen on doing this. Even for 8 grand, you wouldn't do this, which is interesting, isn't it? Other people have different prices. I mean, for one person, the price...
Hello, Randy.
It's £3.84! What the hell?
Recently, my wife and I were very worried about my erectile dysfunction. I thought I would need an operation or something like that. But after discovering and reading Erectile Advisor, all my problems are now gone.
I'm not sure all your problems have gone. And I apologise for that. I genuinely do not wish this man any harm, but £3.84. Look, I don't want anyone to think I'm being unfair on this chap. And if it helps set your mind at ease, I can prove that there is no bad blood between the two of us. I mean, would a man who thought that this show, Modern Life is Goodish, was stitching him up, be this generous in his praise for that show?
Hello, my name is Dave, and I wanted to make this video to say thanks to Modern Life is Goodish.
Couldn't be clearer, could it? Could not be clearer. But, and I think this is the acid test, would he recommend the show to other people?
I recommend its humour to all my friends. Good work.
Couldn't be fairer, could it? Could not be fairer. Do you know what? I spent about 4 hours making that video. Which feels a bit ridiculous when I probably could have just asked him to make one for £3.84. Which is foolish of me on the one hand, but not so foolish on the other. Because I had a spare £3.84 to put to good use. Ladies and gentlemen, I speak to you as the proud owner of a pair of large pine cones. Who's the fool now then? Yeah, but it's not me. It's not me. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. I think once again we proved that modern life is good.